All right, so hello everyone. I am Vicki James. I am joining you from Valencia, Spain. I'm originally from the Seattle area, spent several years in New York City, but today I'm calling Spain home for as long as I can. So I did watch the Super Bowl last night. Being a Seattle girl, I definitely had to watch, which meant staying up till 4:30 a.m. in order to catch my Seahawks win their second Super Bowl, but totally worth it, and got a little rest today, so I am ready to do this today. All right, so what we're doing is over the next 21 weeks, we're going to be building our businesses, and it's based on a document I put together called 21 Steps to Launch. And so for each of those steps, we'll have a course, we'll have a discussion, and it's an opportunity to just kind of check in on, do we understand all the nuts and bolts of building our business? So what's that's about is, you are great at your craft, whether it is as a nutritionist or as a career coach or as a web developer. But when it comes to building a business, there's a lot of stuff that's really kind of a mystery starting out. Trust me, I know I've done this twice and it's still always a mystery. But I will say in the last year, because I surrounded myself with really great people, I leaned into community, I learned a lot. And so what I'm here today is to move that message forward, and so that you have what you need. And it's really about the understanding and resources so that you can build your business with confidence. And call the series, Thrive Hive Live, because it kind of gelled, but really it's, building solo but not alone. And so how can we support each other in building our businesses? All right, so we know that Al is here from Malaysia. Is anybody else in the room? Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what you're building. Kind of curious to see what kind of businesses we have out there. And just so you know, it's a little bit of a mystery to me how many people are actually on. So comments help me keep track of you. That would be greatly welcomed. Let's see. And then also, I'm hoping that with the comments that you reach out to others that comment, that you connect with each other, because I'm really all about building community. And I love to be that part of that community, but really, if I can give you some ideas on how to connect with others so that you can lean into each other and build business with confidence instead of mystery, then that's a win. So hopefully you're connecting with each other as well as you go along. And I know there's a little bit of delay in the feeds as well. So if I'm pausing, I'm waiting to see if the delay is catching up and helping us move forward with this. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and step through our step one, which is, how does this look? Step one is finding our why and boundaries. And you will have a link, or there is a link in the description for you to get this workbook, which includes the step one course book. And then I also put the 21 step document on the back side of it so that you have everything that I have to kind of help you get started or help you take that next step in your business. Because maybe you've made it through, 30% of the processes, and now you're like, what's next? What's this marketing? What's the sales? I'm a little confused. And so again, we're here to demystify all of that confusion. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. And the first thing we're going to, step one is discovering your why. And it's really about your core values, why you're building a business, but then also your boundaries. And this is really important because as a solopreneur, I know for myself, it was so easy to just start digging in and building my business. Just me, my computer, or maybe a chat GPT, kind of trying to work through like, what do I need to do next? How should I message this? What should my offer look like? And what I discovered through actually launching my business was that my why kind of came to the surface. And when my why kind of came to the surface, then I was able to focus my offers, my messaging on something that really resonates with who I am. It also helped me because I had a couple clients step up that wanted to work with me that it wasn't going to be a great fit. But because I understood what I really wanted to do, how I really wanted to support others, it was easier to be like, this isn't a great fit, because I was really clear on what a good fit was. So we really want to look at the why so that we build a business that is something that feels natural to us, that really supports who we are. And with that why, we can come up with offers that feed our soul instead of break it, that support other people's, which offers is next week, by the way. And so really digging into the why so that we understand that. And we're going to start with an exercise that I actually found a couple of years ago, and that is Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. And it's a values list. And so I'll kind of talk through how I did that. You'll have access to the workbook that includes the links and all that. But really, it's this big list of values that we all have. And the goal of this exercise is to find the top two. And that sounds really hard. But I found, as I started working through it systematically, it wasn't as hard as I feared. And so what I did is I was able to okay, well, here's 5 or 7 that clearly are my values. Now, how am I going to get that down to 2? And there's 2 different ways I could look at that. One way is I could be that, well, this value is important, but this one is too, and really kind of stack rank them until 2 kept going towards the top. But really, one of my values stood out because to me, it incorporated all of the other values, and that was integrity. Because honesty being a value, all of those kinds of things, that integrity really brought in, quite a few of the other values, and it was kind of this overarching one that to me really made sense and flowed through. And so through that, I found my own values were making a difference and integrity. And once I understood that that's really what I value, that's the core of who I am. If I'm not acting with integrity, if I'm not making a difference, then I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing. And so it really helped me focus on, how to create offers or how to have conversations or who to partner with, because in every decision I can go back to, am I acting with integrity? And am I making a difference? Now, I will say this list has about 100 different values on it. So when you go through this exercise for yourself, you may think that my values sound great, but you're going to come up with your own. There's 5,000 different combinations of values. So yours are not going to look like mine. And I am in the position where I don't have children. I don't have a close family. And so, a strong family center is going to drive different values for different people. And so just, don't worry if your values don't look like mine, but I share my integrity in making a difference because I can better articulate how it helps me in my decision making. All right. So once I had my 2 values, so integrity and making a difference, now every decision I make, I can say, okay, am I acting within my values? And I'll give you one example. One example for me was somebody was pushing me on my pricing for the do-it-yourself bookkeeping. And she's like, you should charge at least 30% more, or it was 50% more. And it's like, no, because the reason I priced it the way I priced it is I want more solopreneurs to have the advantages of QuickBooks Online and good accounting practices, good profit and loss balance sheets, to have those things that they're not getting from their bank statements and spreadsheets today. And so, yes, I could raise my prices, but I wouldn't be making as much of a difference. And it didn't really fall in line with the integrity. It's like, I can offer it for less. I could offer it for more, but no. And so that's just an example of how, for me, values has really showed up as a way to, help me with my decision making. And it's also come into play with customers as well, because I've had people who I've talked to as potential clients, and I knew I wouldn't be able to make as much of a difference with them because they needed something I didn't have. One example was the client who was clearly going to benefit from having boots on the ground in her local area. I'm in Spain. She's not going to be able to get boots on the ground with me. And so I was able to look for a couple different high quality referrals for her and send her that direction. It's like, let's get you somebody local that you can go sit face to face with when you have questions, because I really don't think it's going to be as useful for you to have to rely on me remotely. So again, that's where the values kind of fit in. All right, so moving forward, and finding our why, it's really about why are we trying to build a business, and values play into that, but understanding the values and how it moves in towards building that business is really going to help you in the early days understand what your business really means to you and what the opportunities and potential are. So like, what problem in the world do you see that you could solve? So for me, I have a long corporate and state government history, first in finance and accounting, and then second in information technology. And so when I looked at what problem do I see in the world that I can help with, it's really understanding the nuts and bolts of business. So whether it be the bookkeeping or the software that you use in order to run your business, those are all things that are in my wheelhouse. And I can help small business owners navigate so that they can set up with success and not uncertainty. All right, and I'm going to just pause here if anybody else has joined us, curious on who you are, where you are, and what you're building. And but I will continue to go through the stuff as we go on. All right. So has also looking at, okay, so I have this idea, and if I had a magic wand and I could wave it, how would I be serving people? What problems would I be solving? How would I be making their lives easier? And so that really came to, my business. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this too, because I'm able to articulate this now because I've been thinking about it and doing the work. But when I first launched, it was like, oh, well, bookkeeping is a good remote business to build, and I have that background, let's do that. But when I was only doing bookkeeping, I wasn't really acting with integrity for myself, and I wasn't making as much difference as I could for others. So by thinking about the why and understanding our opportunity to serve in a way that resonates with us, it would have saved me a lot of months of re-engineering what my business really was. So a lot of good, useful reasons to think through these exercises at this time. All right, so moving on. When I imagine business succeeding beyond my wildest dreams, I am really passionate about community. That's something that's very important to me. And so that's where Thrive Hive came along. It's like, it's great. It's also important to me to help solopreneurs get, bookkeeping solutions that make sense and are affordable to them. But this idea of community just really resonates with me. And so how can I build a community around it? And that's where the Thrive Hive came through. Now, I'm curious, I'm thinking through these whys and how they help me kind of craft my business. But I'm curious on how your why, how your zone of geniuses kind of helped you craft your business as well. So hi, Don. Great to see more folks in here. So, and if you're early stage, you're just thinking about the business, maybe you're side hustling, it can help you really craft those offers that are going to make a difference for others, that feed your soul, without having to rework it down the line, like I ended up doing. All right, and then as we go through the workbook, thinking about, who do you want to help? And so this can help really think through that business. Like, my business exists. And if you're just now launching, this is a pretty philosophical, and it's a direction that you can go towards. If you've been in business for a while, I know for myself, the more I talked about my business, the more I talked to potential and actual clients, the more this stuff started coming clear to me. And I was able to really get clear on this down the road, which served me, one, in networking and telling people what I do, but then also making sure that I was working towards getting the clients that I could serve and who would benefit from what I do most. All right, so one more exercise to think about here. And this one is a take on, it was a guided meditation I did long ago that was like, imagine your funeral and, all your, past, your loved ones and colleagues and community members, they're all there to celebrate you. And what are they saying? And it's a way to kind of think about, how do I want to be recognized? How do I want to be perceived? And I know for myself that how I want to be perceived is very different from how I'm actually perceived. But we're going to do a little bit of a different spin on this one. On this time, we're going to look at the 75th birthday exercise, but it's not just a 75th birthday, it's also your retirement party. And I did this very intentionally because a lot of people are working into their 70s now, not because they have to, although there's a number that have to as well, but because they really enjoy what they're doing. It feeds their soul. they're supported with the sustainable systems and staff so that they can take time off as they need. So the business is not a burden, but it's a joy. And so I really want you to imagine this business where you have so much joy doing it and you feel so supported and that you're making a difference that really resonates with your why. And so now we're at that 75th birthday / retirement party, and people are thanking you for what you do, for making a difference in their lives. They're giving toast and telling stories about each other on the things that you did. And so this is the third part of this understanding your why, is taking the time, sit back for 10 minutes, a half hour, what makes sense to you, and go through with, what does that really look like? How do I want to be perceived? Because once you have that clear vision, now that's also going to feed into your decision making, your strategies, and kind of helps you stay true to that North Star so that you can build a business that gets you to that spot where at your 75th birthday, it's also your retirement party, and folks are celebrating. You feel good about the life that you led. Maybe you don't even really want to retire yet, but we're doing it anyways. And so by understanding your why, by understanding your values, knowing the difference that you can make given your skills and your passions and who you care about, now you can start to build a business structured around that again is going to feed your soul and not break it. Because honestly, being a solopreneur can be heartbreaking work if you're not focused on the things that truly matter in that regard. All right, so I kind of talked you through this already, but what do you hope people will say about you? And what work are you still doing because it brings you so much joy and meaning? And I really like this next one too. Is what are you most proud of? And so there's really a lot to think about through this exercise. And then this fourth one I think is hugely important too. It's like, what did you protect? What boundaries did you put in place so that you could have this business that you still felt great doing in yet past 65, into your 70s, 71, 72, 73. It's like, how did you build this business? Because it probably has something to do a lot with boundaries, which is where we're going to head next. So I'm going to slow down and pause there. Any questions? Or I'm curious too, if somebody has wants to share their values, their why. Maybe it's that 75th birthday. I'll hold on just a second and let you catch up with me, and then we'll move on to boundaries. Oops. All right. Okay. So next part, and we're just about done with this quick little live, but it's really about boundaries. And I think boundaries are so important because without boundaries, it's going to be hard not to burn out. It's going to be hard not to just drive yourself to the grind to where you feel like you're a slave to your business instead of your business being something that supports the life that you want. And so there's different kind of boundaries that we can have. And again, it depends on your values. It depends on your situation. It's going to be different for everybody. But the sooner that you can articulate your boundaries and hold to them, the easier it's going to be to build a business that brings you energy and doesn't make you crash and burn, because nobody wants that. In fact, I recently heard that it totally makes sense, is most businesses end within 5 years, not because of lack of revenue, but because of owner burnout. And that's not what we want. I don't want to waste 5 years of my life building this business and then be like, nope, too burned out, can't do it anymore. Probably just when it might be getting a little bit profitable. But anyways, so boundaries are going to help prevent that burnout. Now, there are different types of boundaries that we have. I think for many of us, time boundaries is an important one, especially if there is family. Or for me, I don't have family, but I'm an introvert and I need a certain amount of downtime or I'm going to feel truly exhausted. And so first thing, boundary to consider is like, when do you not work? When is it nope, we got Sunday family dinner and work does not come into play then. Like one I'm discovering now is that, client calls on the weekend. It's like, if it's hugely convenient, a quick thing, I might respond to a text or something like that. But I need to hold myself firm on, if it can wait till Monday, let it wait until Monday. And so understanding what that means for you, what it means given your situation, given it what it means for the clients that you serve in their situations, understanding that those time boundaries. All right. And then energy boundaries. So I hinted at this one, and that's definitely me, is again, we're trying to avoid burnout. The job should make us feel full and grateful, and or the business, and that we're doing something that we truly value and others value. And so understanding what your energies are and how to support those is great. Now there's some people that just can go, and that's great, but many of us cannot. An example of that for me is I do work with a sales coach who is definitely a go person. And I had to kind of step back and say, if I try to go at that speed, I am going to be miserable, and I am not going to come across well, and I'm definitely not going to make any sales if I'm cranky. So I need to scale that down to a different level, which she agreed. But then I also recognize it's like, okay, so I might not have the same momentum, and that's okay. And so that's something I want you to think about too, is as you find your boundaries, know that your boundaries are going to change your momentum. And if you're not moving as fast as the next person because of that, but you're not miserable and they are, you're still in the better place. Just throwing that out there. And then your values as well. So in thinking about values is, for me, integrity was a big one in making a difference. But those top two values, they're going to help you kind of, set boundaries around that so that you're staying in line with what your values are. All right. Almost forgot. Relationship boundaries. And so again, if you have family, children, all of those other things, need to make sure that you're honoring those relationships, because they're the things that are going to sustain you the most. The business should be giving you the opportunity to live the life that you want to lead, but not without those relationships that really are what help us move forward in life. And I really like the saying that connection is the opposite of addiction. And so understanding that with connection, it means building relationships and staying true to them. And when we have that connection, then we have the support we need, whether it be building our business, setting up our home life, whatever the case may be. So really looking at your boundaries. So again, the boundaries were time, energy, values, and relationships. So are you honoring those as you build your business? Because if not, you're probably not going to always be hugely happy. You're going to have some tough times. But if you can understand those boundaries and then set your business up to work within them, then you're going to be in a better position and life will feel a lot lighter for you, I believe. All right. So I talked a lot and fast, but ultimately we want to get to this, putting it all together. And this is going to help you down the road, because in step 2, we're going to talk about offers. In step 3, we're going to start talking about how to talk about your business. And so by starting with our values, our why, our boundaries, now we can start to kind of form that picture of what business looks like to us, so that as we build it out and as we start talking about it, it makes sense. So for putting it all together, and again, it's in the workbook, you have access to it. So I encourage you to take some time on your own to work through this. But I'm building a business that honors my values of, and I'll use my example, and hopefully somebody will put some version of a draft in the comments, probably not as fully fleshed because I've had time to think about this. But for me is I'm building a business that honors my core values of integrity and making a difference. It exists to help solopreneurs be able to build business with confidence and without mystery. And it allows me to connect with others and use some skills that I have to support people who haven't had the same experiences as me. And this protects my boundaries of time and relationships. And it's almost the opposite. It helps me, the boundaries of time helps me to build a business in a way that I invest the time that I want to invest, and I still have time available to pursue my passions. And then the relationships, well, for me, because I don't have a partner that I live with, it's like I crave the connection that I get from clients. I love being able to support. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I think of you as like the children I never had. Not really, but it's the idea to be able to provide that nurturing nature somewhere. And for me, it's solopreneurs who are just starting out that really are learning to like fly the nest with a little support. And then it allows me to connect with others and support others and be of service in a way that I will enjoy doing well into my 70s. All right, so some reflection questions as you go through this. I'll be curious if you download the workbook, work through it on your own. I'd love to hear from you if you're comfortable doing with on what it unlocked for you. What surprised you? Did you discover there was any misalignment between what you're doing and what you thought you wanted to do? And some decisions that you can make as a result of this. And then finally, how can I support you? What support do you need to build your business in a meaningful way that feeds your soul and makes you feel light, useful, and all the things that you need without it becoming this drain that could lead to that burnout that we don't want to see businesses folding, 5 years in because of burnout. We want to be set up in a sustainable way where we love what we're doing and who we're doing it for, and we can do this forever. All right, and I think that's about the end of the workbook. So there are some resources so the PDF, which you can get, you should have links in the description to go grab that, or go ahead and email or DM me. I will put, that's not gonna work right. Okay, yep. So all the information is in the LinkedIn or the YouTube description, and would love to hear how this helped you in thinking about your business and your next steps. And as I mentioned, with the download, you'll get the full 21 steps as well. So you'll see that. So next week, we're going to be talking about getting clear on your offer. And really that's about understanding what skill do I have, what passion do I have, and what do others need? And how do we pull those together in a way that creates offers that is within our own values and our intention for the business, but then also supports others in a meaningful way. And then after that, we're going to talk about practicing your pitch, which isn't a sales pitch, by the way. Just heads up, not a sales pitch, because pitching in sales never works. But in networking, we have to let people know what we do, or we really don't know what the networking is about. So we're practicing pitches for networking in that case. And with that, I'm going to hold a second for any questions, comments. And again, I would love to see if you have any values that you want to throw at us, or any boundaries you want to share. I will be quiet for just a second and watch for comments and see where this takes us next. All right, so as I mentioned, this course workbook is in the description. So hopefully you can get that downloaded, play with it, understand your why, and see how it can help you in building a business that really makes sense for you. And especially decision making, coming up with decisions that are really going to support you. And if you're thinking like, okay, course work is great, I need something more, well, I invite you to try Thrive Hive. So Thrive Hive is a community where we have these courses available online. We also have regular meetings. Currently we do once a month, but we're going to go to at least 3 times a month with different meetings, because the Thrive Hive is really about building a community where solopreneurs are helping solopreneurs. So it's the place where you can show up. And I'll give one example. We had a Thrive Hive meeting on Friday, and somebody had asked the question of, somebody wants to work with me as an affiliate, but it's not a great fit. How do I get out of this? And so it ended up being a great conversation. Most networking you go to, it's like, I have the best business and here's why you should hire me. This is the opposite. This is, I need support in order to do this right, and I want to support others in the same way. So if that's something that you think will help you in your business, I am offering 45 days of Thrive Hive free, which includes the courses, the online community, as well as our sessions, which it was once a month, but as I said, we're going to start adding at least 2 more sessions, so at least 3 a month, so that there's more opportunity to connect. So just throwing that out there. And again, next Monday, we're going to talk about building your offer. So I hope to see you there. And I'll hang out here in case anybody has any more comments they want to throw at me before I end the stream. But thank you for joining. Thank you for your comments, and have a great rest of your week. And if you're still here, I'm just going to say, go Seahawks. What an exciting game last night. I was a little worried going in, but man, they really did great. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I can't see who you are yet, but I will probably see it when I get on LinkedIn itself. This third-party platform makes things interesting and trying to moderate. Oh, you're welcome, Al. Thanks for joining. I hope it was helpful. I look forward to connecting and hearing more. All right, if you're still on the line, please feel free to connect with me offline. I'm going to end the stream now, but I look forward to connecting with you in a more face-to-face kind of way. And thanks for joining. I'll be back next week with Finding Your Offer.